Dragon Ball Z is arguably the most iconic anime/manga franchise of all time. Its cultural impact not only in Japan, but in the Western world is proof of that. The franchise has made more money than the likes of Batman, Call of Duty, and even Barbie. There have been countless references to Dragon Ball in other media, so whether or not you've watched Dragon Ball Z, you've definitely seen or heard about it. What about this story made it so legendary? Well, I try to break that down in these videos. In this series, I'll be reviewing Akira Toriyama's magnum opus, Dragon Ball Z. Let's start back in 1984. Dragon Ball's story was a journey about a young Goku and his quest for the Dragon Balls. He makes new friends through his pure heart and strong desire to protect the ones he cares about. There are enemies he makes along the way, and more often than not, he could handle them with ease. But the story takes a big shift after the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament. His best friend Krillin is killed, and it is one of the first and few times throughout the entire franchise where Goku is legitimately angry. The entire energy of the story changes after Krillin's death. It feels more serious. The threat of Piccolo and his forces requires Goku to become considerably stronger and push himself harder than he ever has before. I love the Piccolo arcs in Dragon Ball because I think it was a good way to shift the franchise in a direction to become what it has today. It also gave birth to one of my favorite characters in the series. After the Demon King Piccolo arc, Dragon Ball became more of an action adventure. It wasn't the comedy that it once was. The lives of Goku's friends were constantly in jeopardy after this point. After Goku defeats Piccolo's son in the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, Dragon Ball has a 4-year time skip. Time skips have been used in a number of manga as a way to quickly and effectively develop the world of a story. We already knew how the characters in Dragon Ball operated, but Dragon Ball's time skip allowed for a drastic change in the type of interactions the characters had going forward, and I don't know if any time skip is more effective than this one here. It was a normal day for Goku and his family. They were having a nice and relaxing day with friends on Roshi's Island until Goku and Krillin could feel a strong power heading their way, a power unlike anything they've sensed before. Once that individual arrives, the first thing that caught the character's eyes was that he had a tail. Now personally, I watched Dragon Ball Z before Dragon Ball, but I can imagine the questions that readers had before Raditz's introduction. Goku sure looks human, but the tail would have always been something to wonder about, especially because with that tail, he can transform into a giant ape under the full moon. He was also stronger than the average human, so Goku's friends always knew something was different about him, but they didn't know exactly what it was. This tail was something that he passed down to his son as well. Fast forward some, and we figure out that Goku is a Saiyan, an alien race known for their brutality as warriors. Now I want to stop and take a second to talk about just how crazy Akira Toriyama really is. He did not start writing Dragon Ball with the Saiyans in mind. It just came to him as he went along. And for a race of people who have some of the best character arcs in this series, for their origins to essentially be freestyled is so fascinating to me. I mean, this reveal provided so much context to everything that happened in Dragon Ball. From this point on, the way Goku thought about himself, his power, and even the way his friends looked at him changed. And for that impactful of a decision to be made on the fly is crazy. Unbelievable creativity. I also want to talk about Goku's son, Gohan. He's very timid and shies away from confrontation, and it isn't that surprising. He's only 4 years old and he wasn't raised in the same way that Goku was. So when Raditz kidnaps Gohan and Goku can't stop it, Gohan simply cries about it. He doesn't fight back, he doesn't try to break free, he just cries and cries and cries. After Raditz leaves with Gohan, Piccolo reveals himself and tells Goku that he followed Raditz there and saw everything that happened. He suggests that he and Goku team up to save his son, but Piccolo makes sure to point out that his actions are purely selfish. He just doesn't want Raditz to rule the Earth. That's his goal. Little did he know that saving this boy would change his life forever. Goku agrees to team up and they head over to fight Raditz. And at first, Goku and Piccolo put up a solid fight. They can catch Raditz by surprise at times because they can manipulate their power level. We learned that this is something that fighters from other planets don't perform because they rely on scouters and brute strength alone. But over time, Raditz starts to overpower the duo because no matter how smart you are, the side with the most power ends up winning. At least that's how that goes in Dragon Ball. Raditz has dismembered Piccolo and has beaten Goku so badly that he can't even stand. This fight is over. So as Raditz goes in for the final blow to Goku, Gohan bursts out of Raditz's ship in a fit of rage. Now keep in mind, Gohan's been crying this entire time, but when Gohan gets angry enough, his power rises to levels that surpass his father's. This quality of Gohan's became a storyline within Dragon Ball Z, and it is one that fans kept a very close eye on during the early part of this series. Raditz reads Gohan's power level and sees that even he is outclassed by his 4-year-old nephew. Gohan charges into Raditz's torso, cracking his armor and severely injuring him. After the attack, Gohan goes right back to his normal, timid, non-confrontational state and gets kicked by Raditz. As Raditz gets ready to kill his own nephew, Goku locks Raditz into a half Nelson and demands that Piccolo kill Raditz, knowing that he'd lose his life as well. Piccolo lands a direct hit with his now iconic special beam cannon and both Raditz and Goku fall over. But no worries, with the Dragon Balls, Goku can be wished back to life and everything will be a-okay. Only problem is that Piccolo tells Raditz this, and we soon learn that Raditz's scouter is not only a power reader but also a communicator. Raditz wasn't in space all this time working alone. We know from previous conversations that the Saiyan race is nearly extinct, but there are two other Saiyans out there. Two Saiyans stronger than Raditz, and they overheard Piccolo's explanation of the Dragon Balls and will land on Earth in a year to wish for immortality. All of the Z Fighters, along with Piccolo and Gohan, train for the upcoming battle. It is during this time that arguably the best relationship in the series is formed. I know the joke about Piccolo and Gohan and that he's Gohan's real father, but I never saw it that way. I always viewed them as more brothers rather than father and son. Because of his size, I think it's easy to forget that Piccolo is only 4 years older than Gohan. He's tough and ruthless, but throughout Gohan's training, Piccolo actually begins to care for Gohan and his well-being. The time they spent together went from emotionless training to the forming of a lifelong friendship. It's hard to say who had a greater impact on the other. Meanwhile, Goku is in Otherworld traveling along the million-mile Snake Way to train with the legendary King Kai. When he makes it to King Kai's world, he has to complete a set of tests to begin his real training. This section reminded me so much of the silliness in the original Dragon Ball and was a nice change of pace from Gohan's rigorous training and Goku's path on Snake Way. Now we fast forward some to nearly a year later and two Saiyans named Nappa and Vegeta make it to Earth and immediately cause damage, leveling an entire city before they head to where the Z Fighters have gathered. To make a long story short, the Saiyans kill almost all of the Z Fighters, and none of them were killed in hand-to-hand combat. All of them died by either being caught off guard or sacrificing themselves. This made their deaths feel more impactful to me, especially the death of Piccolo. The story made us grow to like Piccolo. The once evil demon who was hell-bent on ruling the world threw his life away for a little boy who became his only friend. Oh, and I forgot to mention, they wished Goku back to life a while ago. Goku had finished his training, and while all of the Z Fighters are dying, Goku is pushing as hard as he can to make it back to his friends. He can sense them dying one by one and there's nothing he can do about it. And now there's only Krillin and Gohan left. They have nothing left to give against this monster of a warrior in Nappa. The year of training on Earth, Goku's training in Otherworld, all for nothing. Until...
Hey, where did that thing come from?
Nimbus?
Goku finally arrives, and boy is he angry. He goes on to absolutely destroy Nappa to the point where he can't walk. And then shockingly, Vegeta kills Nappa. We just saw this monster run through the Z Fighters with ease, and this smaller guy kills him without breaking a sweat. Now it was clear the whole time that Vegeta was stronger than Nappa because Nappa would calm down whenever Vegeta yelled at him, but this display showed me that the gap between the two was much wider than I expected. Now we're at the moment we've all been waiting for. We all wanted to see just how much stronger Goku had become. Knowing that this fight will get ugly, Goku tells Gohan and Krillin to leave and don't come back. Goku and Vegeta's first fight is one of the 3 best fights in all of Dragon Ball. The choreography, legendary beam struggle, the memorable quotes, even when Vegeta turns into a great ape and Goku has no chance of winning, it feels right. Nappa technically killed 3 people. He was a monster. The man who was in charge of him had to be that much more of a threat to validate Vegeta not doing anything for so long. It validates the arrogance of his words and the pride that he has in his heritage. But Goku had an ace up his sleeve, the Spirit Bomb. A technique invented by King Kai where the user can gather up all the energy from the surrounding life and form a sphere of energy. It can be targeted at a person's energy as well. The only caveat is that you have to be pure of heart to use the technique. Goku tries to build a Spirit Bomb to attack Vegeta because his own strength isn't enough, but Vegeta won't give Goku the time to build the attack. Vegeta was getting ready to kill Goku, straight up. But see, this is why I love early Dragon Ball Z so much. Gohan and Krillin come back to save Goku. During this point in the story, it rarely felt like Dragon Ball wasted story elements. Everybody and every action had a purpose. This was a big moment for Gohan's character because against Krillin's wishes and the wishes of his own father, he makes the courageous decision to go back and help, knowing that he'd be outmatched. This was the first time where he made a decision like this without being in a fit of rage. This 5-year-old flew back to what could have been his death. Krillin and Gohan arrive and try to surprise Vegeta by cutting off his tail, but no such luck. And then... Who would have thought that the fat, lazy coward who's been hiding this whole time would be the guy that takes out Grade 8 Vegeta? But this story isn't over. Vegeta in a weakened normal state is still stronger than everybody else on that battlefield. Goku's plan for the Spirit Bomb works, even though Krillin misses at first, but Gohan is able to bounce it back because he's pure-hearted, and even though it hits Vegeta straight on, he is still able to fight. Again, man, the twists and turns at this point in the story are phenomenal. You know in the back of your head that the good guys will win, but you can't really think of a way how. But that's when another beautiful twist occurs. Gohan grows his tail back, and with that, he transforms into a Grade 8. Another example of Gohan's crazy potential and foreshadowing the day he becomes the strongest. Unlike Vegeta, Gohan can't control himself when he transforms. Vegeta can form full coherent sentences, whereas Gohan just screams and pounds the surrounding terrain. That's until Goku somehow gets Gohan to calm down and attack Vegeta, but this doesn't last long. Vegeta is a much more experienced fighter than Gohan, and with his lack of control, Gohan gets his tail cut in midair. Gohan falls on Vegeta while he transforms back into his normal state, and it is at this point where the fight is over. No one else has the strength to fight, and Goku allows Vegeta to leave, another one of the very impactful decisions for this franchise. In the aftermath of the battle, the remaining Z fighters, Bulma, Roshi, and others mourn the loss of their friends. Piccolo is dead, so there is no wishing them back to life. And this is where a character like Krillin shines. He's never going to win you a fight, but he's arguably the smartest and definitely the most resourceful Z fighter. He paid close attention to the conversation Vegeta and Nappa had before Piccolo's death about how there's a planet out there full of Piccolos, a planet that more than likely has its own set of Dragon Balls, a planet that we later find out is called Namek. And with every doubt that Bulma had about Krillin's plan, Krillin answers with a solution, and before you know it, hope is restored. We're about to get another search for the Dragon Balls. This is the start of what I think is the greatest arc the franchise has to offer. We'll get into that one next time. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you haven't already, press that subscribe button for more videos like this. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about the Saiyan Saga, but with that being said, this is BigTune, and thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.